welcome everyone to the Spiritist group of New York, Spiritism at Noon. We are today starting a new book by the Spirit, the benefactor Joanna de Angelis, that is called A Full Life. We have just finished the study of the other book that was Empty Lives. And this is a new publication, a publication that she came to us after the book Empty Lives. And the psychography is by the medium Divaldo Franco. So I'm very excited because we went through everything, all the topics that would lead us to think and reflect about things that cannot fulfill us and leave this void. And now she's going to bring us, topics so that we can really live a full life. And we are going to start sharing our screen here so we can, as always, do the reading and um, and then doing our having the space for our commenting and questioning and bringing more things so that we can enrich our study. So this is the introduction, and it's very important. Of course, the books introductions are not there just for us to flip the pages and goes directly to the first chapter, because they are the ones that set the basis for the whole book. In this case, the introduction is called A Full Life. Live today as if it were your last day in the physical body. Live fully while you still can. Live trusting God and sure of God's victory over all of life's vicissitudes. Life is indestructible. I'm going to stop here because those are very important um, considerations that Joanna de Angelis bring to us. First of all, this idea of living today as if it were your last day in the physical body. Um, it really impacted me a lot, not only because uh, of the importance, validity of this statement, but just this Saturday, the Spiritist movement lost someone very important, uh, very dedicated worker, and it was a sudden heart attack. And he was quite young. He was just 74, not so old, and it took us all by surprise. And of course, every time we are confronted by death, especially death that reaches you, um, it's a wake-up call for all of us. And here, when she's saying, live fully while you still can, trust God and victories over vicissitudes, life is indestructible, all of those statements are not to invite us to live inconsequential lives. Like, I don't know if I have a tomorrow, so let me do everything I can today. No, this is an invitation for us to really connect with what is important, really important in our lives. Lasting emotions, It's not about, physical pleasures, like, when you know that you're going in a diet to the uh, tomorrow, you eat everything that you can today because then you are going to be having restrictions. It's not about that. It is about us, valuing each and every second of our lives and the relationship we have, especially with our loved ones, with our neighbors that are closer to us. And I mean, neighbors in the sense that is the family circle and the community that you are um, having relationship, all of that. So with that in mind, very much like that question, what would Jesus do? Right? We could ask, what would I do if I knew that is my last day on earth? And again, not to go crazy about things that are more to, in order to satisfy the body, but what would really bring you peace and fulfillment? Uh, Even when like she says here, life is indestructible. Uh, when we are talking about last day, she mentions it clear. Last day in the physical body is not our last day of life. So this means that we are going to continue in the spirit realm, the spiritual realm, and we will have time to think. And are we going to be full of regrets instead of spending, you know, uh, with loved ones, quality times? I was worried about other stuff. They are of no importance whatsoever, especially to the life of the spirit. Comments and questions so far? No?
Sarah,
Yeah.
this is unbelievable. what what you just explained. We have someone in our family that was taking giving dialysis, and he decided he was in the hospital, and he decided, and he told his wife, which is my sister, that he doesn't want to live anymore. He wants to die. So he didn't want any more dialysis. The doctors then said, well, if you don't want, then, you go back home. So they took him home 3 days ago. Uh, he has a bed and a nurse there, and the family's going crazy. So my sister is very, very um, unsure what to do now, because he's literally uh, bringing his time on this earth faster than it should. So, I have nieces, there's two of them that are really, really upset, which is, I think, Edie, who had brought me to you over 25 years ago.
Yeah.
She's going really, she is so sad, Delilah. I mean, that everyone is going crazy. He has grandkids, great grands, and he just wants to die. Now we're reading here A Full Life. What do you tell? What do you say to the person um, that he doesn't want to live anymore because he doesn't want any more pain? I am not going to judge. Surely I'm not. Where do you go from here, USADA? You live your full life. Is this a full life? I don't know.
Yes, right. That's a very difficult situation because, like you said, we cannot judge.
Oh.
We don't know what is behind that. Uh, and I don't know if it's his case or not, but sometimes life has just to run its course, and you have to know when you had enough.
Wow.
And I think, in a way, it is good that he shows himself prepared for the consequences, because a person that is so afraid of dying would never take that decision,
Right.
right? Would cling to life as much as possible. So mm, we don't know, Soraya.
Yeah.
I think the only thing we can do really in this case is to pray that,
Yes.
I don't know how long would he have to change his mind. Let's say if he misses dialysis 1 2 weeks, can he restart it, or then this is it? Because he could change his mind. But I think we should pray to God and not judge, and not
Yeah.
thinking that, this is giving up. Perhaps it is acceptance. And perhaps it is the a father, a grandfather, great grandfather worried about, feeling a little better for some time, to enjoy what he has, the time he has with his family, and also to prepare them and to show them that he is okay with that. He is accepting that everyone has a time and his is coming to a close. Uh, I think that sometimes for us that are not going through that, uh, one of the emotions that we have to deal with is guilt, because when he departs, uh, maybe, the wife, the sons and daughters, they will think, oh, it is my fault, or somehow we should have been firmer with him. And so I think that sometimes the resistance now is that, I mean, knowing that you did everything you could,
Right.
but it can be selfish as well,
Mm.
because I don't want it to have guilty. I don't want you to go, but I'm not really listening to you, and
Yeah.
seeing how much you are suffering, and with the dialysis or not, it comes to a point that is the inevitable is coming. It's just a matter of a
Right.
few months or years more than before. So I don't think we should consider that to be like a conscious suicide or anything like that.
Right. Right.
Uh, Only him know exactly what he's going through. And maybe he is mistaken in taking this decision, but I'm sure that he's also taking this decision based on love. I mean, I cannot say I'm
Mm.
sure, but that would,
Yes.
without a doubt, would be an ingredient, like I said, to feel better for a time, to be with the family, and to,
Yeah.
prepare them, uh,
Hmm.
because not knowing when,
Yes.
and knowing the impact that this has on the family, uh, is so much more stress than, now you have time to prepare. Now you
Yeah.
know that this is going to happen.
Mhm.
And now let's enjoy and live today, like it's my last day.
Last day.
And
Yes. Yes.
so but I know, Soraya, that, talking from the outside, not being the one that is going through that,
Yeah. Same.
It's very hard
Mhm. Of
because we don't know, right? But
course.
sometimes, like Elmo says to us, today hospitals have, you know, possibilities of keeping our body alive
Yeah.
years, decades, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But it comes to a point where you have to accept
Accepted.
that,
Yeah.
you know, and it's a very hard decision, and I think it has to be personal, and that the family should be there orienting, guiding,
Guiding him. Yes.
but accepting as well.
Exactly. I guess it happened so fast, so everyone kind of didn't know which way to turn, what to say, what to do.
Mm-hmm.
As days go on, uh, they are trying their best to understand. And
Mm-hmm.
I keep telling them, let's pray, and God knows what's going on here. So have faith, and all these things you try to tell them and explain to them, especially the younger ones. Yeah, you have great grands there, and great grandchildren that are in their 20s, and daughter that are in their 30s and 40s. I mean, there's so much there, but uh, I think it is something to understand that he's accepting, and I look at that like something really uh, a blessing, in the sense that he is accepting what he's going through, and he doesn't want others to suffer, or so kind of difficult, but how you explained it now, I see. So
I think, they should listen to him.
yes,
And what I mean listen is, have a, an open conversation where he may explain why he took this decision without being interrupted. But you shouldn't. What about us? It comes
yes.
to a point that is not about us.
Mm,
It's about you,
exactly.
right? I mean, we cannot imagine the pain, the physical pain, the emotional pain. Like, we all hear, right? People that go through chemo, right?
Yeah,
Chemo,
chemo.
how hard it is. And sometimes, they know, many times the doctor says, if you go through that, maybe you will live 1, 2 years.
Yes.
And there are people that decided not to do it because, and
Uh,
how can we we make this person feel bad, because the outcome is going to be the same, but it with so much aggravation in between.
yes.
So I think you should, you all should take the opportunity
Mhm.
to hear him, and ask him to open clearly. Of course, the younger ones will not understand because in their minds, if their great grandfather is taking the medication, is doing what he has to do, he's going to live forever.
Yes.
But they should know that this is not the case, and what is the cost,
Mhm.
the personal cost. And I don't know how long he's been going through that already, Soraya.
It hasn't been that long. It hasn't been that long. Um, well, for one person, a month could be a whole lot. And I think he's maybe a couple of months, because the other brother-in-law died of the same thing. That's Francis's husband.
Yeah.
It was through chemo, and he also wanted to let go, and he passed away. It's amazing. There's so much there uh,
Yes.
that seems to be an understanding that it is a very difficult thing to understand. But if thank God I have a little light in this, and I understand, just like you said, accepting it and depending on the base of love that is there, he's preparing himself and for them too. So this
Mhm.
is why it's so important to understand, you know, who we are and why we're here and where we're going. So
No, it's
I thank you.
definitely very hard. It's definitely very hard. Uh, but although, of course, I understand the family has to fight to, to motivate him to try a little more.
Yes,
Uh, they cannot make whatever hot life he has, transform all this time into just a constant uh, period of distress, discussions, and fights,
yes,
and all of that. I think
yeah,
it's very hard. Um, we cannot say. I just think that as a spiritists, we we should never judge, and also how much someone can cope, right?
yes,
Um, in terms of all of this and pain, especially for a man, we know that it's much harder, right? To cope with pain and
mhm,
overall, right? It's
yes,
um, so I think that from this perspective, from the spiritist perspective, we should be praying
yes,
and trying to guide without confrontation,
right,
but understanding the other person's decision, um, and always thinking, if I were in their shoes, what
yes,
would I be doing?
mm,
I mean, sometimes the pain is unbearable. Sometimes the pain is too much to go through that and to think that, for the rest of your life, you have to go, I don't know, 2, 3 times a week
yes,
and going through all that. And I mean, it's understandable.
mm,
And of course, never judging or condemning, because maybe it's just a sign of acceptance as well.
exactly. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you.
No, 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 no problem. Okay, let's keep reading here. Life activates the molecules and the celestial bodies in the vastness of the cosmos through the energy that moves them. Live certain of its perpetuity and let yourself be led by the multiple and infinite manifestations through which life can be felt. In this universe of magnificent magnitude and expressions of beauty, the divine breath sustains the flame of life. The worms that crawls on the soil, sometimes repugnant, the bird that flies through the air, the animals that live in water and on land, the colorful vegetation, the galaxies that explode and spin, and the colossal immensity of space, and the human being that is dazzled by all that incomparable magic constitute a harmony that escapes human detection.
Mm,
So here she's emphasizing, do not think that life is just to restrain to physical body or to the kind of constitution that we know. Even when we are talking about warm, it is life. It is going to a cycle. It's serving a purpose. And and when we look around, there is always so much. I thought it was so interesting that when she used this word magic, because
Mm.
we want so much to see magical things, right?
Mm.
And I mean, what can be more magic than the sun rising every day? Right? It's night, and all of a sudden it's no longer night, right? And the temperature, the moon, the ocean, I think that when I read that, I thought, well, this is a perfect a page and paragraphs for all those that are fighting in favor of ecology, and us giving more importance to every species that we have here on Earth and that actually constitute, they are combined in a perfect way to make life for us possible. So, she's really trying leading us here to be in awe with the creation, and especially when we are talking about, the complexity of the human body and how this complex human body can, be in tune with the source that is the spirit to do the actions and the thinking and everything that we do. It's absolutely amazing, right? Incredible, all of that. And but we miss it. We take it for granted that the garden is always there, the sun is always rising. Okay, maybe today there are clouds in the sky and it's going to rain, but it's important as well, but we are not. I mean, we should be in awe every day just because your heart is still beating and you still have one more day to give love to the world and to praise the Creator. Comments, questions? Hey, Fabio, so good to have you here, Ale. Let's continue. Consequently, the life that thinks and pulsates at the top of the animal evolutionary scale and has been evolving from the primitive atom to the archangel is responsible for its own glorious ascension. This is a reference to question 540 of the Spiritist book, that talks about, how we evolve from the primitive atom to become the archangels. Having attained this stage of reason, human beings use their thinking energy to develop the values that they like. As a result, they either advance or remain stagnant with respect to the principle of universal integration. During the complicated days in the culture of the earth, the mechanisms used to attain plenitude are harsh and afflictive because people choose madness, violence, vice, and suffering, both veiled and unveiled. If they set their minds on the luminous dawn, their inner shadows still prevent the light from taking hold in their hearts. Anywhere they turn, enigmas and challenges arise. They feel defeated and without strength to continue the march. Crestfallen, they forgot about the heavens and lose themselves in the wasteland for a long time. So here she's talking about reminding us that we come from an atom. And sometimes we think we are not evolving. Look at ourselves now. I don't know how many, but trillions of cells, right? That combine to form organs, that combine to make our human body functions. There are a universe per se. And because we are not paying attention or giving value to what really matters, which is many times just to look around at the magic of the universe, we let ourselves be taken by the negative effects that are happening within us and with others. And when we are on the verge of choosing sides, many times we will be guided by our immediatism, things that can fulfill me now, as opposed to do the work of things that are going to last forever with me and give me this full life, this plenitude that we want to achieve. Because we became so attached and so much focused on the, you know, on what is down on the earth, on the now, that we lose sight of the preciosity that exists. I was thinking about that story from the cave of Plato, where there are people that lives in the cave. I hope I remember well, but just look at the cave of Plato, that lives on the cave, and they have a fire burning to warm them. And all of a sudden, they start seeing shadows because of the contrast with the fire, and they do not know what this is until one, I think, gets off the cave and see people. But the other ones that are seeing the shadows, they think that just the shadows exist. So we keep our confined in our corner, thinking that this is all there is. There is another Egyptian tale, I think, in the book Missionaries of the Light by the Spirit Andra Lewis and Chico Xavier, where the Spirit Manual tells us uh, about this tale, this Egyptian tale of a little fish that lives on a pond. And of course, there are hierarchy there as well. They have kings and princes and all that. And this little fish that is very curious and tiny, because all the fish take advantage of him, and he cannot feed that well, right? One day he finds uh, uh, like what we can call a passage to the unknown, and he decides to take that passage and goes, and he squeezes himself and goes, uh, just to find himself in the ocean. And when he look at the ocean and he see the richness and all the different species of fish and life in the ocean, and lots of food and all of that, he enjoys that so much. But then he says, well, I cannot stay here and live in my fish community, not knowing that there is so much more to the world, to this ocean, than just that little pond. So he squeezes himself back to go and have an audience with the king of the fish. And he talks about his adventure. No one believes him. And he says, well, but there is a catch. You guys, they are very fat. You will not be able to pass through the the passage to reach this, paradise, this immense ocean of resources. So you have to lose weight. And then it was when they said, no way. And they dismissed him, and very sad, he took his way back to live in the ocean. And the tale finishes by saying that there was a bad drought later on, and the pond had no more water, and the fish did not survive. So anyway, I think this is what we have to think about. Let us not be confided, in just a little pond, thinking that this is it. There is nothing more, and just looking at the small problems that we may have living in this little pond. There is a full possibility waiting for us. Any question or comment so far?
I love that story, the
Yeah.
little fish. I love it, and it's so much there that you they're explaining a little fish, but what does that little fish is teaching us?
Yeah.
You know, not to be confined, open. There's so much to life. There's so much out there that we can do
Mhm.
to live better lives, to help other people, to enjoy what God has given us here. There's so much here
Yeah.
to use it with a lot of love. It's such a beautiful. I remember um, uh, Elmo would always say that story, and Joel.
Yeah.
Such a precious story.
Yeah, it is precious because we can analyze it for so many different aspects,
Yes,
right?
yes, that's what it is.
Uh, uh, us, if we think that material life, that's it, and there is nothing else, is like, this is, the representation, the little fish of the spirits coming to us and saying
Yeah,
so much more.
yes,
Don't just keep doing what you're doing, go through a moral diet, so to say,
yes,
right? In order for you to benefit from this as well, and to come but I think that in what we're talking about today as well, it has everything to do with it in
yes,
terms of we give ourselves to dismay, and everything that happens, or little things that happens to us, many times we look at it like being the end of the world,
right.
right? And it's not. It's like, this
Course.
saying,
Yeah.
God closes a door.
Another one opens, of course.
Yeah, and much more important, if we
Mm.
just do not be blind by pain and negativity.
Uh-huh. Oh, beautiful. Yes. Mm.
So let's continue then. It seems as if everything they did was pointless, and it makes no sense to insist. Live, however, with your heart filled with joy, looking at tomorrow. To be happy in the future, live in harmony with the universe today, and, and you will triumph and experience a full life. So it's how we are going to be directing our energies now, right? Am I going just to be thinking about how hard everything is, and that it seems that the more we wanted to better ourselves, the more, things seems to be crumbled around us. But this is a personal fight. This is about us, about each one of us taking the responsibility and doing their work of self-improvement. And and then we will see that if others are doing the same, very soon the atmosphere of our planet is going to change.
Yes.
So she finished by saying, we authored 30 topics to help the reader realize a life well lived, which we present in the light of the gospel according to Spiritism, because Jesus is life in abundance. Dear friends, read one of our messages daily and incorporate it into your existence so that you may have a full life. Salvador, Bahia, 2021, Joanna de Angelis. And let's just look at the first one is to be faithful to the end. I love this one.
God,
and
that is beautiful.
and I think it's going to be a beautiful journey, right? And like she said, you can read once a day, if not this message from this book and any other book, just things that can inspire you, and we can continue our studies, our conversation about this topic, because we are so much in need of that, right?
Yes.
All of us.
Absolutely.
Any comments or questions?
Mm.
So let's go and move forward. Right?
Yes.
And Soraya, anything you need?